Okay, they're going to see us and then they're going to see this start. Happy Wine Wednesday, everyone. How are you doing this week? I have my, of course, Seahorse glass, and I'm sipping on Pinot Noir. Holly, what's that glass? I think you've showed us before, but show us again.
Yeah, so it says, "Don't let anyone ever dull your sparkle." And of course, you're
I
seeing it
love it.
backwards on here, so I had to turn it around and read
Yep,
it.
yep. But that's cool. All right. And what are you sipping on tonight?
Tonight, I have rum and coke.
No. Ooh. Holly's usually got some, low cal new thing, and she's just like rum and
Or
coke.
water, yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's been a week, so
And
tonight it's
guys,
rum and coke.
we were absent last week, completely my fault. I had a family emergency. And we're going to talk here in just a minute about how we're going to make sure that Wine Wednesday happens, even if Kelly isn't, at the top of her game or something's going on. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Also, Ray can't be here tonight. He had other obligations, but he will be back next week. And Miss Sophie is back from vacation and she is lining up guests. She's about to take this thing over and she's about to make this spectacular. We're going to talk about that in a second. But I do want to say for anybody joining us for the first time or who don't know who we are or what's going on, basically we're all seahorse loving, seahorse keeping, captive breeding people that get together every week to talk seahorses, talk saltwater, talk anything that has to do with aquariums. And, if we don't get any questions or don't have a special guest, we talk about whatever's going on in life. So, just a good community to be a part of. We hope that you'll join us. And in the meantime, I got nothing for this week. My tanks are the same, everything's the same. Holly, I'm going to go to you first because Sophie has more to say. So, Holly, what's going on with you? How are your seahorses? What's up?
Well, my seahorses are getting old. We've talked about before. So my youngest ones are turning 5 this
Hmm.
October, and my oldest one is close to 7 years old now. And so he's hanging in. He's actually doing well. He's eating all his meals every day. He's my handicapped boy dandy, so he's always struggled as far as moving around. He has a motor skills problem,
Right.
so it's gotten worse over the years, but very very slowly. And he still
Sure.
figures out how to get around. So he still eats his 3 meals a day. He comes to his little dish, and I kind of help him, make sure the dish is where, he can get, and he wriggles himself into the right position to eat. And, so he's hanging in, doing okay. And my other seahorse in that
Wait, wait,
tank's
wait, real
Tweety.
quick. Before you go
Hmm.
on to the other seahorses, I
Hmm.
wanted to say two things. First of all, I forgot to mention when I was doing the intro. Basically, guys, this is open chat, right? So
Hmm.
while we're talking about our seahorses or where we're talking about a topic, whatever it might be, if you have a question that's related to seahorses, anything saltwater, whatever, ask your question in the comments and we will go to that topic as soon as we're done talking about whatever we're talking about. And then also for you, Holly, um, you have tons of videos online, right? And you
I
don't
do.
mind if people go view your public profile because
Hmm.
Holly did have a very unique experience where this seahorse is handicapped, right?
Hmm.
And there's no logic, no reason. We've never been able to say this is why or this is how or whatever. but she chose to raise the seahorse anyways, and he's lived a very fulfilling life in a tank. Wouldn't have been able to do that in the ocean. Definitely wouldn't have been able to do that with, maybe someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Holly has cared for him, raised him, gave him a great life. So I just wanted to hats
Mm-hmm.
off to you for that, Holly. But go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So, and on my videos, like if you go to my profile, I'm just Holly Milliner on Facebook. I have it set on friends only for most stuff, but the Seahorses albums, their photo albums and posts about them are all public. So you can just see the Seahorses that way if you want.
And kind of see, well, the
So,
reason I was saying that is for someone who says, "What's a handicapped seahorse?" Right? Because that's like, you
yeah.
know what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
someone new would be like, "What?" But
He
he
has
struggled.
trouble swimming.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he just
he's
struggled with certain
clumsy, runs
things,
into stuff, he falls down, he can't get up. Weird stuff for a seahorse, but that's Dandy's life.
and he's had an
So,
amazing life. So,
anyway, yeah, and he's a little over 6.5 now.
which
So
is awesome.
he's my oldest one. And then sadly, it looks like I'm going to lose Sadie first, though. I've raised her from Fry, and she's a little over 5 years old now. And a matter of fact, she stopped eating right around her birthday.
Huh?
So tomorrow is the anniversary for a month. She hasn't eaten now,
Huh.
and she's still hanging in
Is she thinning?
a little bit,
Okay.
but not as much as you would expect for not having
Right.
eaten in a month, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
odd. So then in my other tank, I have four that I raised, and they are all turning 5 this October. Whoever makes it there, because I've got one in that tank that I'm probably losing too.
Okay.
And she's like, she eats intermittently, but she's very slow. She likes to lay down most of the time. She'll go like a week without eating and then eat. It's very odd. But I thought I was going to lose her like 2 weeks ago. And all of a sudden she decided to eat.
Hmm.
Then I remembered one of the other seahorses in that tank, Buddy, did that to me last year. The male last summer, I thought I was going to lose him. He looked like he was dying and he wasn't eating. He was laying on the bottom. Well, all of a sudden he decided to eat again, and I still have him a year later. He's fine. So I don't know, but they're getting older. So
So,
I
so a couple things I
think,
want to
I'm going
say
to
though.
slowly start losing them, probably over the next year or so,
But after them having a great life in years and years and years, and I don't know. I just, I know it's sad when we lose seahorses, but there's a huge difference in, you get new seahorses and something goes wrong and
Yeah.
you can't figure it out versus having this
Long
family
time.
with
Yeah.
your seahorses and
Yeah.
maybe raising your seahorses and then them having their full life and then them, going into retirement, so to speak,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Permanent retirement. But I'm just saying, Holly, you've done an amazing job taking
Mhm.
care of all of your seahorses. And, Dandy would never have had such a great life with anybody else. And with all of them, I just feel like I just want to, again, congratulate you for giving them such a great life and just say to
Well, thank
anybody
you.
new again, if you keep seahorses 5+ years, you're doing a good job, right?
So Kelly, I'm curious for you because I know in your case, your seahorses are about the same age as mine now. So, are you thinking about adding some new blood to your tank, or you get some more, or what's your plans and thoughts?
So I will be completely honest with you guys. You don't see me post much because I'm not taking the care that I should of my tanks. The seahorses are
Mhm.
okay, but
Mhm.
it's again to that point in my life. Like I go through, and I'm sure everyone I hope understands. You go through these points where you're like, full on, I'm about breeding
Mhm.
seahorses and this is what I'm
Mhm.
going to do. And then you have a baby. I saw Salty Reef. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
I didn't have a baby, guys. No baby here. But I'm just saying, something happens. I
Mhm.
got this management position at work, and it's just really been more than I signed up for.
Mhm.
And we joked around that when I really still was trying to breed seahorses, that they knew that mama wasn't going to be able to
Yeah.
help them. And so,
Mhm.
let's not give her babies. And that's a joke, obviously, because they don't
Mhm.
care about what's going on
Mhm.
with me. But point being, Holly, to answer your question, I'm not taking down any tanks. I'm
Mhm.
still caring for my seahorses the way I would to the best of my ability, as busy as I am. The tanks aren't as pretty as I'd like them to be. Um, None of them are giving me fry anyways. So it's more like what you're talking about, where they're getting older
Mhm.
and I'm past expecting fry from them. And
Mhm.
so I'm just, having coming home to, just like somebody comes home to a dog, right? I come home
Just
to my
yeah.
seahorses and they come
Same
up and I
here.
feed
Take
them and
care
it's,
of them. Yeah.
a little ritual and it's
So
great.
do you, what do you have now? Do you have just the all-in-one or do you have
No,
other
I
Seahorse
still have the
tanks or
65 too. Yep.
okay.
So I've got the 65 and the all-in-one.
Mhm.
And let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six seahorses. That's it.
So that's the same as me. I have six also at
Yeah.
this point.
So I mean, it's winding down, but
Mhm.
again, nobody gets scared because
Mhm.
Sophie's taking over the channel and she's going the hog everywhere, and B, I'm not giving up or quitting. I don't think I'd ever be happy without keeping
Mhm.
seahorses, but I
Mhm.
also want to be responsible, right?
So
And
you're
I think
gonna
Holly,
wait a while before you get
yeah,
more.
well,
So.
I think you feel the same way, Holly, is because you have
Mhm.
things you want to do in life,
Yeah.
and you can't be a responsible seahorse keeper. So let me back up from that statement, because you can take vacations. We've proved
Mhm.
that you can live a life and, have your wonderful seahorses, but to breed or to be
Mhm.
serious about some of the things that I wanted to do and still want to do with seahorses, it's not the right time in my life, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So
Mhm.
again, guys, I'm not quitting. I still have my seahorses. If as they age and I don't have them anymore, I absolutely will get back into it. It's just I don't want to be irresponsible and buy seahorses that I can't care for, or even breed seahorses and then not be able to care for the fry. It doesn't make sense. Right now
Mhm.
I can't even take care of my human kids right now, and they are above 18, but it doesn't matter, they're still needy as hell.
They're
And I
always your
can't
kid.
I, I can't help them. And so I'm kind of struggling right now, but that's why again we're all seahorse whisperers, and
Mhm.
we've got Sophie that's going to help with the channel, and she's still trying to breed, and we're going to get back into it at some point. I rambled on and on, but I hope I answered the question, because yeah, I mean, I can't imagine my life without seahorses, but I also never want to have them when I can't care for them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
And you have to, like, it's a commitment. It's just like having a dog or having a child or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a commitment, and
Well, and
I
if
don't
you
want
were
to.
to get more now, then you have the chance of them breeding, and
And that's
that
what I
then
want because I love it.
yeah.
But
But you don't have
wanting
time for
and
that
being
right
able to
now.
care for them,
Yeah,
yeah.
I hear you.
And I did see that Salty Reef is getting his seahorses next week. Or
Yeah,
my seahorse. We gotta know more what that means, Salty, because
yeah.
uh you're having another boy in December. Oh my gosh. With all the kids, how are you gonna care for seahorses? Just kidding. Just kidding. But yeah, like, and that's the thing, is when I say something like what I just said, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Sorry. Um Anybody new, you guys got to realize this lady's getting old, and I've been doing this for a long time. And that lady's not old, but she's been doing it for a long time. And my point being,
I'm
so
older than you, Kelly.
look at them lines. Anyways, my point is, anybody who watches the channel, that's why I can't wait to show, and we're getting ready to talk to Sophie, but I can't wait to show Sophie how to do this in case I can't be here, and just in general, because when she's leading the channel, she's younger and more enthusiastic about it. I wouldn't even say more. I still love, adore seahorses, and I can still help and answer any questions. It's just chances are you won't reach me by phone because I don't answer calls anymore because I'm so busy at work. But I'm just saying we're gonna keep trying to make it work because this community is very important to me and very important to all of us, and we want to keep helping seahorse keepers. It's just where we're at in that stage of caring for them, I guess, is a good way
Oh
to
my
say it.
gosh, the baby's turning 4.
I know
Yeah,
the little
that's
baby was a
been a
baby.
while.
Now it's
That's
4.
good. Yeah,
See,
yeah.
and
Seems
that's
like
what
yesterday.
happens, right? You're like, and my seahorses are now 5, and they're,
But that's why, yeah, when I joined you guys, they were fairly new.
yeah,
So that's been like 6 years,
yeah.
roughly. Yeah.
I feel like it's longer than
Because
that,
I
but
had their parents, like the parents of the fry I raised have passed away since. And the ones that I raised, their kids are turning 5.
incredible. I mean, that's so great. Just that we've come so far with captive
Hmm.
breeding, right? That
Hmm.
we can
And
do
there's no
this.
way I would have them. The ones I raised, I would not have been able to do it without this channel.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, and again, channel,
So
not Kelly,
it's
channel, like not
it's
see
it's
even Seahorse
been
Whisper,
it's
Dan
been
and
great.
Ray and Cheryl and all the people, the community. It's the community. It's an
Hmm.
amazing community. Absolutely agree. All right, Sophie, we're coming to you now. What's up?
I mean, I have a bunch of I just got back from vacation. Well, about a week ago I got back from vacation, and my seahorses are looking really good. I have not gotten any fry. My seahorses actually, when I came back home, looked fatter than I have ever seen them.
Wow.
So yeah, I did the pet sitter that was here did a really good job with them.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah,
Well,
he
and
I
you did too, because it takes them a while to bulk up. It doesn't
Yeah, they
happen
don't
overnight.
eat and bloat. They're
Yeah.
not like
yeah.
us. We, you don't have a dinner and it's like, ugh. No, it takes them a minute. So you've been fattening them up, which is great.
Hmm.
But kudos to the good babysitter,
Yeah.
seahorse sitter, excuse me. Go on.
So I haven't gotten any fry from them. I've been a little bit unsure what's going on there because he looks like he's pregnant, but I don't see any fry. So I'm just kind of waiting that one out, seeing when I do get them. He, yeah, like right now he doesn't really look like he's pregnant. So I'm not
Let's see
sure.
if
They're
we can
constantly
see them.
flirting, dancing. Another thing I have on the go right now. There they are. That's my male, and my
Aw,
female is over here.
Oh, look how happy they look,
look at
though.
them. Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, you're
Oh,
turning
they're
on a camera. Either you better
so
have food
cute. Yeah.
or get off me.
Yeah. That's what I miss about my young seahorses. When they're young, they're so active like that.
See, but look at what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
He's doing the flirting right now where he
Yeah.
turns the lighter color. He starts like trying to dominate her.
He's trying to grab her. She's
And
all
she's like,
stop
ah, I'm
stop
good.
grabbing me. I want to dance. Come up here.
Yes, right.
Yeah, he has. If you can, I don't know if you can tell very much, but his face is really dark. That's a sign that they're dancing, or he's
Yeah,
just, around her in general.
yeah, all flirty. Or that crab you have walking by.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
like,
my
I'll
god, that
steal the
is the most
show.
problematic crab in my entire tank. I
What's wrong with him?
he has grabbed onto my seahorses a few times.
Uh
Oh,
oh.
That's not good,
Right?
but the problem is I don't have anywhere else to put
Anywhere
him.
else to go, huh?
Yeah, so it's generally when they're eating. So I kind of,
Yeah,
when they're eating, I take him and I put him on the other side of the tank.
gotcha.
there you go.
And he
But
also,
that's a really good point. And for anybody who is just starting out with seahorses, you know, crabs are a iffy, you know, like there's a scale 1 to 4 of how dangerous
Mhm.
something is to keep with seahorses. They're obviously not a 4. They're not, you know, attacking or stinging or, you
Mhm.
know, whatever. But because of the fact that seahorses are, what's the word? Sedimentary? Is that the correct word? Where
Sedentary, yeah, where they sit
they
out
sit
a lot.
still,
Mhm.
they
yeah,
sit still a lot, especially if they're sleeping or whatever. And
They
if
get
they have
walked
algae
on.
growing on them or just, you know, whatever, you know, oftentimes cleanup crew can become a bad thing because they start, you know, snacking on stuff that's on the seahorses.
Well,
Or
and
if,
not just that, but their feet are sharp. So when they walk on them, they have those pointy feet
yes,
that can
yeah.
poke
yes.
holes in the seahorse. So you might want to try discouraging him from going near them when they're
I
eating.
do.
He might learn because my crabs kind of learned to leave the seahorses alone
Yeah. See, the
if you
thing
move
is,
him
so
every time.
with that crab, I was not. So that's an orange clawed hermit crab. I think that's what he's called. He's
Okay.
like red. And my
Hmm.
other ones are blue-eyed hermit
Blue.
crab.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And I was supposed to get them all here. There's like a blue eye. You can like,
That happened to me,
and
Sophie.
I was supposed to get them all blue-eyed. And
Yeah.
instead, I came home with this one. And that one is the only one that I've ever had problems with.
Because they have
Yeah.
different personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
The blue
had
hermits are, yeah, go
I
ahead.
had some striped legs mixed in with my blue leg crabs when I ordered them, and they got huge. But
Oh,
thankfully, they left the seahorses alone. They wouldn't walk on them or bother them. So I got lucky. But yeah, any of them that want to try to walk on the seahorses or challenge them, I would maybe trade it with another keeper or something for something else, or just so it doesn't hurt them.
yeah. So I notice it's mostly during feeding time. So I get really attached to
Well,
what's in my tank. That's kind of my
sometimes
problem.
though they won't bother them; they'll just eat with them. Like my crab used to go and eat out of the dish with the seahorses, but he didn't try to hurt the seahorses. So if he's leaving them alone and just eating the food, you might be okay. It's if he's trying to grab them or walk on
No,
You
them.
I
said
don't.
they did. You said he did grab them, right?
Yeah, he did grab them, but it's generally it just kind of seems like a he gets super excited during feeding, like he knows they're being fed, and so he just starts like climbing, looking for something. And
So
Mm-hmm.
because
it's
he's
an accident.
always on this hitch, and the seahorses are always on that hitch as well.
Mhm.
So instead, during feeding, I just take him off this hitch and put him like
And
over
put
there.
him,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
So it takes
And
him a while to get back
and
across.
he'll learn that way too. Maybe give
Yeah.
him his own little food when you move him to the other side. Give him a couple pieces of his own to work on, and then because they're smarter than people think. A lot of
Yeah.
these salt. I mean, my crabs figured it out. You know.
Agree, agree.
So.
But I will say, if you don't want to have to feed individual things in the
Mhm.
tank, don't be Holly or even me sometimes, and
Yeah, if you
have tough
spoil them, they
love.
get used to that, and then
Yes,
yeah,
then
they'll
they
come over there, and
expect
you have
it.
to feed them over here.
So a couple of points that I think we just covered is, you know, A, do tough love instead, or if you're willing to and able to feed seahorses and crabs on separate sides of the tank, cool. But what Sophie's doing right now is working, just
Yep.
moving. But the other really important thing that I want to point out for anybody new with seahorses is this is the key to being a seahorse whisperer is observation, you
Mhm.
know, paying attention, watching what's happening. You can't just throw in food and walk away, right?
Yep.
You got to see what's happening when they're feeding, what's going on. how many times do we get people that come and say, hey, my seahorse has this injury? And, I'm not saying it can't happen where you don't see it, because it's happened to me for sure,
Mhm.
where a seahorse gets injured and you don't know what happened. But I'm just saying, if we start out proactively and we observe and we learn our seahorses and we learn our tank and we figure out what's going on and all the, intrinsic, community things, whatever. I know I'm rambling,
Mhm.
but I'm just saying, I think it's really great, Sophie, that you observed this and know to move the crab, because most people wouldn't even know. And then they'd have an injured seahorse and not figure
Mhm.
out that the crab
The
was,
crab walked
going
on him
crazy.
or whatever. Yeah.
So,
I would say that
start out with using minimal other things besides seahorses, because then you wouldn't have a problem. Period. But if you want a more natural tank where you have crabs and etc., aside from snails, mine was always snails. But if you want crabs and such, just make sure you're observing. Make sure
I
you
Mhm.
know what you
would
get in your
say,
package, and then you watch them eating and communicating.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I would definitely say that if I were to do a tank again, I would not be getting hermit crabs. That
Okay.
is not to say that you can't do it, because obviously
Mhm.
they are a marine bottom
Mhm.
feeder that you can get. But I would just say that they've caused too many problems for kind of what they're worth.
What other problems did you have?
They would eat my snails. Well, no, only
Yep.
the one would eat my the rest of them would not care about my snails, but the one would always eat my snails. I did manage to, so I actually have a conch, and he's right here. You can't really see him though because he's behind the sticker. And he left that one alone, so he's fine with the conch. And I did manage, because when my dad's aquarium crashed, I had to move everything into my
Right.
aquarium, and that included a snail that he had. So I just had to be like, well, we're gonna have to try, right? So that one did manage to survive. The good thing about that one is that it just stays on the walls or it buries itself, right? So the crabs
He's
in
out of reach most of the time, sounds
yeah.
like, probably.
So there are some things that you're able to get past the hermit crabs with, and it definitely depends on the personality. But I would not go with hermit crabs.
So, and I think Holly, you would disagree with that, right? You never had trouble, right?
I never had trouble with my hermit crab. As a matter of fact, I still have one. He's like almost 7 years old, like like Kobe. So I have one left out of all of them, and he's old and slow too. Like
Yeah.
whenever I clean the tank, I have to be really careful of where he is, so I don't like stick him in the bleach bucket because he's climbing on something, right?
Right. Well,
But
well,
yeah, I stay
so
aware of him. I clean the algae off him now and then. He's slow, but he comes and picks up food. Now that once in a while he'll come and eat with Dandy. You know, he'll come and eat at the dish, but he's one of the blue leg ones.
yeah.
I had the a few of the stripe leg ones, like I said, zebra leg or stripe leg, whatever they call those. And I had two that lived to an old age, and they got really big. I kept giving them bigger shells. They got to be like 2 inches. They were
Yeah.
huge. And I was concerned as they were growing. So I kept a real close
Close
eye
eye.
on them. But they were gentle with the seahorses. They would not walk on them. They wouldn't challenge them for food or pinch them or fight with they'd come and eat with them, but
Mind their
been
business.
lucky everything in the tank thinks that the seahorses are the alpha of the tank.
Gotcha.
So
It might depend
everything's
on
been
the species.
cautious around them and left them alone,
What'd
thankfully.
you say, Soph?
It might depend on like the species of hermit
I
crab
was just
because
gonna say that.
Mhm.
So, couple
yeah,
things I wanted to share is, first of all, it does depend on the species. In both the
Mhm.
cases that they talked about, they ordered blue legged and
Yeah, the
got this
blue-legged are the
random,
blue
safe
eye.
ones,
and they
supposedly.
got this weird crab that's not blue
The
legged and is
striped
more
ones are
aggressive.
not because they can be aggressive and they get big. Like I said, mine got big, but they kind of learned, they lived to be old, 5 years, 6 years. I had them a while, but they learned what life was like in the tank. And when I was feeding the seahorses, if a if a crab I thought was imposing on the food while the seahorses were eating, I'd take the turkey baster and I'd shove him out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have
eventually they figured it out. They are like, oh, we don't want mom to
So,
mess with us,
so
so
real
we'll
quick
leave them alone.
before Sophie goes on, because I want to let you speak, but I just want to say again, like when I first started, I did seahorses and snails. That's it.
Mhm.
Because I was super careful. The seahorses were my priority, and I didn't want to jeopardize anything or even allow the thought of something bad going on. Now,
Mhm.
if you want more in your tank and you want crabs and you want different things, okay, go by the guidelines that we've provided that are in the what's the website called, you guys? Seahorse.org.
Oh,
That has a
seahorse.org.
great, 1 to 4 scale of how dangerous something is in a seahorse tank. And we'll hopefully provide an even better and more updated one
Mhm.
on our website. But for the time being, use that one and make your decisions based on what you're willing to, your risk tolerance level, right?
Mhm.
But just know that even within a certain species, that they have different personalities, just like
They
seahorses
do.
have
There could be
different
one
personalities.
aggressive
So
blue leg crab in there.
if you're gonna put things in the tank that can be dangerous, either be ready to be very observant and be ready to make changes if there are problems, or stay super careful like I did, and then you don't even have to worry about it.
Mhm.
But what were you gonna say, Sophie?
I just wanted I have a little molting of the
Ah,
crab.
Oh,
So this is what my crab. He's a
how
little more red,
cute.
obviously in real
That's
life, but
pretty.
yeah. That's
Pretty
what this
little
one looks
guy.
like. Yeah,
very cool.
but I collect moltings from all the things in my tank.
I do too. I have a stack of the seahorses. When they pass, you can save them because they have that hard plating. So I have those. I have oh, what are those disc shaped sand crabs called? You know what I mean? They're like round and then they have a tail. They go under the
The
sand.
sand dollar?
No, no, no. They're a kind of a horseshoe crab, a horseshoe crab.
Oh,
Because
gotcha.
years ago, I had a couple horseshoe crabs with seahorses. And so I have a couple of their little skeletons and then all the different seahorses. I even have dwarfs. They're the size of my pinky fingernail.
People
Tiny
are going to come to this channel and be like, what are these crazy women talking about? Okay, guys, we really are a channel about starting up a tank and, not
yeah,
fossils and all that. But
yeah,
we've been doing this for a long time, so give us a
yeah,
break.
yeah.
And Salty Reef said, the guy I order my corals from had a single seahorse. Oh, sorry, I bit my tongue. Single seahorse in his store for a while now, so I decided to set up a new seahorse
Yeah.
tank. So let's
Nice.
talk for just a second about that, and then we'll go back to Sophie. But so Salty Reef, what are you setting up? How long's he had the seahorse? Because the longer he's had it, the better um you can guess that it's a healthy seahorse, but it
Mhm.
probably has been in mixed water with the other tanks, other fish, saltwater fish, diseases. We've talked about the endlessly. So it is a risk, but not if you're setting up a tank just for him. So what are you doing? Are you setting up a tank just for the seahorse? Are you going to get it a mate? What's your plan? Because anytime somebody says, I saw a lone seahorse in a fish aquarium
Yeah,
store and I'm going to take it home, I'm worried. I'll just be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
I'm worried. Holly, how would you
Well, if
expand on
you
that?
like you said, if that seahorse has been around for a while, then that has a pretty good immune system, I would think.
Which is amazing, but
So,
then if you try to mix it with other
but I
seahorses,
think Salty Reef has the
he
experience
does.
to do what he needs to do. to
Totally
get
agree.
the seahorse healthy if that needs to be, and provided a good home. So,
I totally agree. Again,
but
and
you
Salty, I
never
hope you.
know. Yeah, when you get something, you never know, unless maybe since he's knows the guy sounds like already, then he
Yeah.
probably knows the history of the seahorse as well.
And Salty, I
I
hope you
guess.
took no offense. I'm just using your comment as an example for someone new, because if someone new that's not Salty Reef goes to a pet store
Yeah.
and sees a seahorse, goes home, comes back a month later, that seahorse is still there and
Hmm.
doing well, that is an incredibly good sign that the
Hmm.
seahorse would do well in your tank at home. But it also brings on a whole line of other problems that you can deal with, but maybe someone brand new could not. So
Hmm.
I'm just bringing it up for discussion. Like, you know you usually want to have seahorses in pairs, right? So if you're going to add another one, are you going to buy from somewhere else? Because I try to
Hmm.
buy in the same place usually.
Hmm.
And then if you have this super immune seahorse that's been exposed to all these pathogens and can deal with it, but then you add a super captive bred seahorse to the same
Hmm.
tank, what happens then, right?
Hmm.
So I'm curious. We need to have you in here for a discussion, Salty Reef.
Yeah.
When you get your seahorse next week, and I wish you nothing but luck. Again, I use these
Yeah.
examples for someone new, not
And
you.
wondering what he's going to do with his tank. Is he going to make it like a reef tank and have a
Yeah.
lot of other things in it? Or just
Well,
seahorses? Or, yeah,
Well,
what's he
and
going to
that's what
do?
I'm anxious to see as new younger people experiment with seahorses is
Hmm.
that, we were all super careful, right? Or at least I
Hmm.
was. I was super
Hmm.
careful because I wanted the seahorses to do well and I wanted to breed and
Hmm.
blah blah blah. But the more that I mean, even the more time that passes, the more experimenting that happens. Obviously, captive bred is the ace in the hole. You have to go captive bred. But even Dan came around to saying, there are things that are possible. We
Hmm.
never wanted to risk it because we were in this situation, but
Hmm.
now that, there are younger people coming along and trying different things. I know plenty of people that are keeping seahorses in a reef type situation, but it's
Hmm.
300 gallons,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there's the water volume, the filtration methods, and all that good stuff to compensate for their waste, and also the space so that they're not being bothered by.
Everybody can have their own territory. Like the seahorses
Right,
probably learn to hang out over here, and these other fish learn, okay, well, that's
right,
the seahorses' territory, so I'm going to stay over here.
right.
And yeah,
But I
so
mean, who's to say seahorses can't learn and other fish can't learn? I mean, I don't ever judge anyone for trying something as long as they're being fair to the species. We don't do wild
yeah.
caught, and you wouldn't get a pair of seahorses and try something and fail, and then put another pair of seahorses into the same
Hmm.
situation, because
Hmm.
obviously there's a problem. You need to figure it out and fix it. Come here, we'll help you fix it. But I'm just saying, if you're being responsible, I don't see anything wrong with evolution and figuring things out and finding new ways and things working out, because I think it's great. So yeah, Salty, back, I'm rambling again, but back to my point is you got to come be a guest again and talk to us about your new seahorse and what you plan to do, and
Yeah.
yeah, all that good stuff. Sophie, what else did you need to share?
Um, hold on. Oh, I have. This isn't much seahorse related,
Okay.
but recently, a few days ago, I found a an 120-gallon aquarium on the side of the road.
Okay.
So of course I had to look it over. It was completely like, okay, you can see that it has been used because a little the bit of the silicone is chipped off,
Hmm.
but it is a very, very good tank. So I it's like it's a long one, right? So I told my dad about this and we wanted to bring it home. Now we have no space for this tank. And even getting it back home was a struggle because both of our cars they're fairly small. They're not small, but they're like pretty normal sized cars.
That's a huge
120-gallon
tank.
tank's no joke.
Yeah.
So we had to carry that home, just me and him, which was
Oh, wow.
not the most fun experience. But
Oh, geez.
got it home, I cleaned it, and I posted it because I'm looking for people to buy it now because, again, I do not have the time, the money, or the space to deal with this tank.
So wait a minute. Time out, Holly. Can we both tell her in unison that if she ever succeeds with Fry, she's going to need that tank to raise the adolescents? But okay, go
Yeah,
on.
but
Sophie.
sounds like she might need a sea shed, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I
Heather
think I
had.
might need a
Put
whole
it
new.
Go on.
Anyways, but I really want to keep. I have gone through all of the possible places where I could put it in my house, but I cannot. Like, there's no space in my room. I already have 2 tanks, plus I have a huge one for my gecko. I have my piano, my bed, my desk. It's full.
Sophie, just give up your bed. That's no.
Right?
I'm kidding. Go ahead to the point. Sorry.
Yeah, you can sleep on the floor in the middle of all the fish tanks.
Exactly, right? No, I
You
feel
can sleep on the piano.
But the tank is longer than the piano, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
120
So what
gallons,
are you doing with it?
good size.
So I'm trying to sell the tank, and so I was gonna post it on Facebook Marketplace, but I've been having some problems with Facebook Marketplace right now.
Don't we all?
And pardon?
I said, don't we all?
Yeah. No, it's because it needs to make sure I'm over 18, but obviously I'm not. So yeah, I have to figure
watch
out.
out. All the crazies come out when you post on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, like I don't love it, honestly. So I posted it on Reddit. Now, not a much more reliable way to get people, but I did post it and I think I got like 200 comments. Most of them are from the States, obviously. I got people from like Miami, Tennessee, Alabama, Buffalo as well. Buffalo is closer though, so they could potentially get it, but so I did find some people nearby, but I'm still
How about your local fish store? Can you put a flyer up there or something?
I could do that. I didn't even think
make
about
a flyer and put it up in the local fish store, because then you're targeting the right people, and you might do better.
Totally agree. But what did your experience with Reddit make you think about, like, the channel and such?
So I did find it a while ago because as Ray he loves the forums, okay? And so I went on a quest to like find more because I kind of knew there must be some Seahorse forums. So I did find the subreddit of Seahorses. Unfortunately, the Seahorse subreddit isn't very popular, so there are only a few posts. But the subreddits of like saltwater aquariums, saltwater aquarium club, something like all those ones are pretty popular. So I wanted, because of the amount of comments that I got about the tank, I want to post these Wine Wednesdays, like make an announcement really to everyone that like, hey, we have these things, like come check it out, and hopefully we get enough views and we get enough people who want to come try it.
No, I love it. This is why we need young people like Sophie figuring stuff out, because I mean, I know Reddit, but I never did that investigation. So
yeah, I only go on there when I ask a question and it sends me there. When I'm Googling something, and other than that, I don't
I would say though, do not, if you want to get information about seahorses, do not get it off of Reddit.
Yeah.
Like, please do not get it off of Reddit because it's so bad. Like,
yeah. Well, that's, I mean, like, if I had the time, guys, I used to do that. I used to go, not correct people, but like put out good
Mhm.
information everywhere I could. It's just difficult now. And so we need the younger generation to step up and help out. We need the Zen Gingers and the Salties and the Sophies and everybody to, keep spreading the good information and help people to keep seahorses properly because, yeah, there's a lot of bad info out there for sure.
Mhm.
For sure. But I love that you've found this resource. And, once you and I get together, if ever, and we figure out how to get you more involved with the channel, well, I'm totally game to get us into Reddit. That's not the right way to say it, but you know what I mean. Like, get into it, try to help with getting
Mhm.
the word out about the channel and also about just good information because it does suck. That's the thing that Ray hates is that you go to places like that now and there's so much bad stuff that's not true.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's so wrong that it's just we need to tell them, hey, there's a place where people have actually kept seahorses for years and years and years, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
we're doing it the right way, and we can help you if you're having problems or if you want to set up properly. So
What
so
I
great
have
points.
noticed is that there are a lot of people on the Seahorse subreddit that are talking about dwarf seahorses. They all keep
Yeah.
dwarf seahorses,
There's a lot of dwarf seahorse
and
keeping
they
right now.
don't. I saw one person that was keeping them in a 20-gallon aquarium.
Hmm.
So, I kind of talked to Ray briefly about that, like over email, because it wasn't working for them. I think one person said they were always dying of like starvation, which in a 20-gallon tank you can kind of
That
see
makes
why.
sense. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Dan always said that if he did dwarves again, he would do it in a 20-gallon.
Hmm.
But in his system, he had a method for feeding them and also a huge sump that was handling filtration. So and a ton of
Hmm.
dwarves, right? If you're going to get 5, that makes no sense. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. And yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Sophie.
yeah, it's because a lot of people, I have seen a lot of people being like, "Oh, like I want to get into seahorses," but
And then they look, and guess what? Dwarves are only this much, and the larger
yeah,
species are really
that's why
Or
expensive.
the
I
larger ones
get
aren't
dwarf.
available, like we've
Right,
talked about before. There's not, you know, any big commercial breeders anymore,
right,
really.
right.
I don't think I've ever
Salty.
told you guys, but like I did when I first went into seahorses and like looked into them. I wanted to go into dwarf seahorse. Like I wanted to get dwarves because to me it seemed like a
Hmm.
dream. Like, oh, what do you mean you have like a miniature version of a seahorse and you get a
Right.
smaller tank and you don't have to get as much.
So,
Yeah, I used to see them in comic books, growing up because I was a kid in the 1970s, so they had them like in comic books and stuff, but usually you couldn't order them because they came from Florida and they wouldn't send them to
mhm.
California. And and so I didn't get them until I was much older, like 2007, 2008. I had dwarfs briefly, but the place I got them from was kind of that style because they sent all the things to go along with them. Like I said, the horseshoe crabs, the callirpa, which happened to be infested with hydroids, and they had a whole seahorse kit that you put it, in a little tank and blah blah blah. But
It didn't work.
it wasn't good. It didn't work, so I only had them for a few
And I would
weeks.
say for anybody out
Unfortunately.
there who does watch this later, if you're thinking about dwarves, nothing wrong with that. They can be fun, they can be really
Yep.
cool, but they're more like raising fry. They take live
Yeah.
foods.
You
They're
have to
more
do it the
work,
right
more
way.
water changes, more everything versus the large, gorgeous, beautiful seahorses that, if you just set up a tank properly for them, they're not hard. I mean, that is the truth. Like everybody
Hmm.
talks about seahorses being hard, they're not. If you set up for them correctly,
Yeah.
you get Sophie's literal background where you've got beautiful seahorses swimming around. I mean that's it. That's it.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
was talking to someone from South Africa about seahorses, and I was recommending that they get seahorses, but because they said that they love fish that are like curious and they're friendly, and I was like, hey, you should try
Mhm.
seahorses. But
Absolutely.
Yeah.
unfortunately, right now they're only doing freshwater.
Mm,
I did have a good
Mhm.
discussion though with them about, as we were talking, like having more like natural tanks, because I think
Mhm.
I would say with the younger generation, I'm not trying to call you guys old, but with the younger generation, or at least for me, what it was that I see all these documentaries or things on social media that kind of show us how much that the ocean is kind of just being destroyed and
sure.
the corals are
Mhm.
disappearing. So I kind of wanted to make, like, keep a slice of that in my room and know that, like,
Yeah, keep it
it's
safe.
forever, right?
Mhm.
So that's what I
Mhm.
was talking to that person about as well, because that's kind of why they did it as well. Now I'm not sure how old that person is,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Mhm.
So and that's
Well, things
why
are a
promote
lot
hang
different
on.
now from
That
when I
that
started. There was no social media, so you'd see things in
Yeah.
books. And some of the books that I had were like way
yeah.
old. So, a lot of the stuff in them were wrong. It was very hard back then compared to now when you can meet people like we've met each other online and help each other, with the hobby
But there's
instead of being
also
alone to figure
but
it
there's
out.
also the danger of going on Reddit and reading a bunch of
Mhm.
bad information. So, everybody tell
Mhm.
everybody to come here. But what I would
Well,
also say is
Mhm.
the whole captive breeding thing is huge and serious. We've
Mhm.
talked a lot on this channel about the fact that we keep seahorses alive in our tanks way longer than they would exist in the ocean, right? So I mean it can be a promotion
Mhm.
piece for the captive breeding experience, uh, promoting
Mhm.
new breeders and that kind of thing, because absolutely. How did that relate to dwarves though? Because you were talking about how you wanted to keep dwarves and then you were like, well, I want to preserve the ocean and keep this forever in my
I
house.
hate when I went into it, I wanted to a saltwater tank because I watched the documentary Chasing Corals, which I would 100% recommend if you're into that. And it is really sad though. And so I wanted to, because I wanted to create a saltwater tank. I was kind of going into it like I want to create something saltwater. It wasn't necessarily like I want a reef. And I went through different options of, like, I wanted an octopus at one point. Yeah, that didn't turn out very well. I wanted,
I would be depressed with those from what I've
yeah.
read that I couldn't do it.
I wanted sea dragons because,
They're amazing.
yeah, but I, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously found out that wasn't an option. So when I settled on seahorses, this was like after I had decided that I wanted to make like a saltwater tank and that I wanted to kind of preserve a piece of the ocean in a way. So I kind of, well, I just looked around. I was like, oh, well, seahorses, right? And I can put them in this sort of idea anyways, but I can make it in a smaller tank. Um,
It's really interesting to me though. Oh, sorry. Go ahead and finish because you were getting to the
no,
dwarf
I'm done.
part.
I'm done.
Oh, no, I thought you were getting to the dwarf part. So you
Yeah,
you
no,
just
is that
wanted dwarfs
because,
because they were smaller?
yeah, I wanted to keep them because they were smaller. Like, I wanted to do all of this
This
on a smaller scale because I did not have the time. No, no, no. I had the time. I didn't have the
the
money to do
room.
it, really.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the two interesting things that I gathered from that is I think it's pretty incredible that the younger generation, at least from your perspective, we aren't speaking for everyone here, but they've
Mhm.
gone from saying, I mean, obviously everyone knows we're destroying the ocean. That's a given. But
Mhm.
instead of saying we can't take seahorses from the ocean because that destroys the ocean, instead you're looking at it from a different perspective in that I want to create a piece of the ocean in my
Mhm.
home and preserve it. That's really interesting to
You
me
want to
because
protect
that's
it.
the exact opposite from 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was if you
Mhm.
keep a tank, you're evil, right?
Yeah.
Because
So there
you're
are some. So I still see them like on social media, and everyone's like, "No, like these are wild animals. You should release them." People don't
not
realize these
Yeah.
are
captive
like
bred.
captive.
Don't ever release captive
Yeah.
bred.
Yeah.
And that's the key to captive breeding, guys. Is if you're new or if you're anyone who disagrees with us in this conversation,
Mhm.
my main point would be that we absolutely promote captive breeding. So we promote people that are good at breeding seahorses, taking two seahorses from the ocean that would likely get eaten or swallowed up for, or whatever, and instead treating them like kings and queens, fattening them up, letting them have babies in a home in a a not ocean setting, and then raising those seahorses in an aquarium setting and selling them to people that want to keep them in an aquarium setting in their homes. We don't take from the ocean, only the breeders do. And then we're giving them much longer lives and preserving, as Sophie kind of pointed out, what wouldn't happen otherwise. Like, who knows? It might end up that we do seriously destroy the ocean and the captive bred seahorses are the only ones left. Please don't let that happen. I'm praying right now. But I'm just saying it just is crazy to me when people get angry about seahorses being kept in aquariums because, again, they're captive bred. They wouldn't make it in the ocean. If you release captive bred into the ocean, they wouldn't even if you released my seahorses into the ocean, they'd go up to something that was about to eat them and be like, "Hey, you got a sandwich?" I mean, like they don't get it because they're so
Yeah.
domesticated. And maybe you can say that's wrong, but they were born in an aquarium and they're raised in an aquarium and they breed in an aquarium. So,
Mhm.
anyways, I don't want to get into all the craziness, but I just wanted to make that point. And I love that you have a different perspective, Sophie, and that you're bringing it to the table because that's really important. Because I could ramble on about whatever, but newer people, younger people look at things differently, and it's important to realize that. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad you're bringing it to the table. But anyways, what else? What else we got to talk about?
The last thing I have is that if you've seen if you've been consistently watching this channel, you would know that I got peppermint shrimp a while back to deal with my aptasia
Mhm.
problem.
Yes.
And they were like a dream. Like it disappeared within a week, 2 weeks, something like that. I have not seen any more of it, so I would assume if any more popped up, they're they're eating.
They get
Yeah,
them.
they are
Yeah.
really good for it. And I have noticed that one of them is now pregnant. So I'm hoping because it was kind of funny because I went to like my parents and my sister and I was like, "Oh my god, my peppermint shrimp is pregnant." And they were like, "Oh my god, that's so cute. Will you have new new peppermint shrimp?" But no. They'll be live food probably.
They'll be eaten.
But
Um,
they're an
I've
extremely
had
hey,
that
so
happen
so
once, and my seahorses would not eat them.
oh
I had baby peppermint shrimp everywhere, and the seahorses would not eat them. I couldn't believe it.
Holly, your seahorses are weirdos. My seahorses
They are.
loved when the peppermint shrimp had babies.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, they went crazy. And that's such a good, live, nutritious food, right? And I don't know about
yeah.
DHA. We'd have to ask
And
Greg.
you know it's safe because
Yeah, they're
they're
they're born
they're
in the
in there
aquarium.
already.
Again,
So
that's what
you
we're
have to
talking
clean
about.
it.
Like when we talked back, a while ago about, buying one seahorse from a tank in a pet store where it's been for a month, it's been exposed to a lot of stuff, and then mixing it with other stuff could be a danger to the other stuff. Whereas if you have a captive bred seahorse and you start mixing things in, that becomes a danger to the seahorse. I hope that made sense. I keep biting my tongue. I hope that made sense. If it didn't, message me, whatever, ask a question. But point being, with these peppermint shrimp that have been in the tank for however long and are now having babies, that is a absolutely not contaminated. only contaminated by what's already in your tank food. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
buku. I've never I thought about trying to raise them, Sophie, and I was told that peppermint shrimp are like
They're
mm-mm.
hard. I read when mine had babies. I read how to raise them, and I said, "Oh
Just
heck
like
no."
mysid shrimp. Yep. Yeah, too much.
You'll think the seahorses are labor
Yeah.
intensive.
But the
Peppermint
cool thing
shrimp or
is the
something else.
peppermint shrimp, once they start breeding, they seem to have them like every month,
Hmm.
like a lot. And so they become that
Hmm.
food. So that's a great thing. And they're cool as hell. Like if you haven't seen a baby peppermint shrimp, it's like it looks like a snowflake. It's so tiny and delicate and it's really cool.
And then
And
your
then the
seahorse
seahorse goes
become.
snick, but besides that, they're
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They have
Yes.
gotten. I've resorted a little more to broadcast feeding
Hmm.
lately in my tank
Hmm.
because
Cheers, I love it.
I've noticed that it's just easier to feed everyone that way. I have like
Hmm.
my seahorses who are kind of running around for it. Then I also have my peppermint shrimp who have gotten, or at least one of
Yeah.
them has gotten, the pregnant one has gotten really crazy about food. Like, it's hard to just separately be feeding my seahorse because the peppermint shrimp will just eat all of it.
Will
Yep.
come. Yeah.
And then I
They
also
come.
have the
Will
goby and
come.
the pistol shrimp who will come out and eat this part that's on the sand. And obviously the crabs as well, who are kind of just scuttling around there. So it just kind of works out
Yeah.
better to broadcast feed so
Yep.
everyone is fed at the same time.
Yeah.
As long as you
Everyone
clean
eats at
up,
once. Yeah.
right? That's the key is make sure that you don't
Yeah.
leave any when you're done. But I've
Yeah.
always been a proponent of broadcast feeding. It's like a magical thing to watch dinner, watch
Yeah.
everything eating,
Mhm.
and
Because
Yeah.
everything just
Especially when you
comes
have all
out.
the different
It's
creatures.
kind of that's the
Yeah.
time that I kind
They
of
all
make sure
know. They all learn.
that's the kind of time that I make sure that everyone is like, doing okay, everyone is there
yeah,
accounted for,
observe. Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Do a fin
yeah.
count. Or snout count, as Heather used to call it.
I love it. I miss
Snout
Heather.
count.
But yeah, raise
Yeah.
your
Who's Heather?
fin. Make sure you're present. I love it.
Heather raised seahorses too. She got hers about the same time as
Hmm.
me and started having fry and stuff that she
No, I
raised.
just said
And
I
she
miss
ended
Heather.
up
She's
giving
amazing.
hers to a public aquarium and
Yeah.
stuff. So she had her own sea shed. Her husband built her a sea shed, like a she shed,
Holly, we've
but it
covered
was
all
a
this
shed
on the
for the
channel. What are
seahorses.
you telling us? We know.
Yeah. So, well, because Sophie
Yeah,
was
I
Oh,
asked
asking,
who she
sorry,
was.
she
sorry,
said, "Who's
sorry.
Heather?" So I was
I'm
explaining
sorry.
to her who
Sorry.
Heather
Yeah.
is. So she's still around, but she's like me. Her seahorses are
Yeah.
old, and she's a nurse full time, so she's busy, and
She's
yeah,
amazing though.
so
She
she
did
still has
like how
some.
many species did she do? She did combs. She did erectus, I know. I feel like she did a couple
Yeah,
more.
I know more about the rectus. I don't. I think she tried a couple others, maybe, but I don't
Gotcha.
remember what other ones she had. Mostly, she had
Yeah.
erectus, and yeah, hers were having
Oh
lots of
yeah.
babies. She was having success raising them, and she ended up when she got her promotion and stuff. She gave a lot of the juveniles or sold them to a public aquarium. So she has seahorses in the
That's so
public
cool.
aquarium in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
She's from
So
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
cool.
So yeah, very cool. I'm still friends with her on Facebook, but yeah, I don't see as much of the seahorse posts from her anymore. Same with me because my seahorses are old too. But and for Zen, Ray is
Yes.
fine. He's
Thank
on
you.
vacation. Yeah, he went to visit his cabin,
Yeah.
so
Thank you. I forgot to
he's
I
doing
put the
fine.
post up, but I forgot to
Mhm.
talk about it. Sorry, Zen. And yeah, you said if you blindly trust Reddit. Well, right, but I mean it's worth being said because I mean
Yeah,
Facebook used to be
yeah,
the same thing where there I mean it still is in some
yeah,
places, but I mean like you can if you want to convince yourself of something, you can find proof that you're right on the internet, even though
Yeah.
you're dead wrong.
Yeah.
So,
True.
you know,
True. Yeah, you have to be
but
careful.
I think it's really cool. I think my whole thing is I think it's great that Sophie's part of the team now because she is young.
Mhm.
She's over on Reddit, and obviously you are too, Zen, but I'm not.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not active over there, and so we
Yeah.
get some of these younger people like you guys to go over there and say, maybe not argue with people and say you're wrong, but put out the good information.
Yeah.
Put out the
Yeah.
information that, hey, if you have a serious, if you're getting ready to set for Seahorses, come to this channel and talk to us and we'll help you figure it out. Or, if we talked about a specific topic on some week, share it over there and be like, here's the real answer, from people that have kept seahorses. So I just think it's good to expand because my girls, I have 19-year-old daughter, or sorry, 18. God, I'm great. I don't know my kid's age. 18-year-old daughters. I keep trying to say 19 because I'm like, they're gone. I'm no
It's
longer
coming. Yeah, it's coming
responsible.
next.
They are on
Yeah.
their own. But anyways, they keep coming back for more. Anyways, point being, my 18-year-old daughters, like, they say they have to ask me to put stuff on Facebook Marketplace. And it's not because they're
Mhm.
not old enough like Sophie, it's because they're like, Facebook's stupid, Mom. You're old. And I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Facebook was
It's
so
just
cool a couple years ago.
it's so hard to navigate. Like I don't understand anything about it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't understand the others.
Right.
Facebook is the only
I
one
feel
that I
like the other
get. I'm
ones are so
comfortable
much
with
more
it.
like straightforward. It's just like
So you
video
can navigate
comments.
Reddit, but you can't navigate Facebook?
Okay, no, but Reddit is also really simple. It's like there are subreddits. You post on the subreddit, you get comments. You can also DM people.
But I mean, like when you talk about the subreddits and the like, I don't know. I don't know.
The subreddits are basically just like little forums within Reddit.
Mhm.
It's
So
like
seahorses as a topic is the subreddit.
yeah, it's
within
so
Reddit.
the subreddit how you would search it up is r/seahorses.
No, and I get all that, but I've tried to look for information there, and it's like, okay, I go onto Google, I ask a question, it takes me to Reddit, right? And
Yeah.
then I'm like, and I tried to set up a Reddit. You won't be able to find it because I don't get Reddit. Anyways, so I click on, I want to go there for the answer. Then of course it tries to get me to buy the app and do this, that, and the other. And no, I'm not doing any of that. I just want the answer. And then it's like you click to show the full answer. And it's like then there's an ad, of course, and then there's like an answer to an answer to an answer, and I can't figure out where the answer is.
So what
And then they're
happens?
voted up or something. I don't know. I don't know.
What happens is that there's the question with the image, and then people start commenting underneath.
Mm-hmm.
The comments
Mhm.
can be answered to. So it'll be like comment, answer, answer, and then there'll be these lines on the side, which
Yeah. Old. I'm
it's
all
easier.
good with Facebook.
Well,
Come
there's
find me
just
on
too much
Facebook.
because I have to keep up with all the stuff, because I'm an insurance broker, and every company I deal with has their own website, their own way of doing things. So you got to figure out how to navigate all these different websites and things. I just don't want to add more stuff that I have to, learn how to
Yep.
navigate and figure out because I already spend so much
What I
time
Right.
doing
don't get
that.
about
that
Facebook,
I'm like, I don't have time for it
yeah,
all.
Well, and each social media or platform has different rules. Like I was really good at
Yeah.
Facebook when Facebook was cool. And then
When it
but
was
then it
new.
became Instagram.
Did you do MySpace, Kelly?
No, I
Do you
never did
remember that one?
MySpace. Nope.
MySpace? I started with
Nope.
MySpace before there was Facebook.
I wasn't around for MySpace. I'm only 21,
So I
guys.
told you I'm
But
older
no.
than Kelly.
But my point is, like, then it became Instagram, and then it was hashtags. And I still to this day don't freaking understand hashtags. Like,
Hashtags have become not so popular anymore. A lot of
I
people are
know,
saying that
and
they
now
don't.
that's not cool. And I'm like, oh my God, no, I can't keep up.
I never was into hashtags really either. I'm like,
You just
Well,
kind
it
of
just didn't
hashtags
make
are just
sense to
like
me because, like, to me, wouldn't you want to make a cool new hashtag? No, you want to have the hashtag that everybody's using because then people see your stuff.
Zen.
When oh my
Yeah,
God, no, too much.
right. That's
And then
funny.
well,
then they're
you just
getting
Zen was
too
you
on it.
like
big, and then you're just putting stupid. You're never seeing. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. But anyways, now we've gotten off on this crazy tangent. I'm sorry, guys. And actually,
Right.
we're climbing on 10 o'clock. I'm gonna end it. I gotta work tomorrow. I'm so sorry. If you were completely bored by this episode, don't forget all you have to do is ask a question, right? We come here
Yep.
every week. We're going to talk about whatever topic we want to talk about, unless you ask a question. If you ask a question, that's where our direction is going. If we have a guest, different situation, we're going to obviously focus on the guest. But in any episode that is not a guest, we are here for open chat. We are a community, we help each other. We've been keeping seahorses for a long time. So, we're not going to sit here and talk about should I do sand? But if you ask that question, that's what we'll
Then we
talk
will
about,
talk
right?
about it.
So just come, ask questions, tell your friends, and Sophie's gonna get us on Reddit, and then we'll be cool. All right. But until then, Mama's got to go to work so I can afford the computer, right? So for tonight, guys, let's say Happy Wine Wednesday, and Sophie doesn't even know what MySpace is. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when you get seahorses. All right.
Maybe I don't think you were born yet.
I don't.
Seriously.
What year was this?
When did it go down? MySpace, it was like I didn't do it either.
Well, I think it was, I want to say early 2000s, like 2000,
I was
Oh,
2001
born in
is when I was
2010.
on MySpace. Yeah, I was on MySpace. I want to say it was around the year 2000 to 2005, maybe in that time
no
frame.
way.
It was before Facebook came along.
All right.
Yeah. And
Well,
it was very similar. It was like a primitive version. Like you'd have your page and you'd post
I mean I know of
your
it.
pictures and stuff, but that didn't do as much as
Right.
Facebook. So it was, yeah, it was a lot
And these
simpler.
social media platforms just keep getting bigger. That's why we need the younger guys to help us out. But for tonight,
Mhm.
guys, I'm calling it Happy Wine Wednesday. Zen, see you next week. We need to get with you and see where
Happy
you're at with
Wine
things because we
Wednesday.
miss you. And Salty Reef, so cool that you
Yeah.
came. Get with me. We'll have you on as a guest to see what's going on with your new seahorse. So excited. All right, but for tonight, Happy Wine Wednesday. Everybody say cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Night.